That's the best I can tell you from a timing.
Can you give us a better idea of her role in the investigation? How she handled it?
She originally came forward and spoke to investigators on her own volition.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm really trying to help you guys. I need you guys to help me too. Like,
Yes,
we'll
ma'am.
do this as a team, but just don't.
So
fucking let me down,
the
please.
reason why we can't, like, I think.
Prior to the time, unfortunately, that she came in and spoke with investigators, she had deleted all of the information off of her phone that had any connection between her and Chris Watts. That hampered the investigation.
You know, they're going to say, oh, you're the woman that had an affair with this man who took out his whole family. And I take a step back and it's just like, I didn't know. Like, it's...
That hampered our ability to get that electronic digital connection between the two.
Wow! Why? Ow!
She was interviewed on multiple occasions. I believe that for the most part, she was forthcoming in the course of those investigations. We don't have any reason to believe that she had any prior knowledge or involvement in the death of Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and Nico. I think that's the best way I can answer that. Yes, sir.
I still cannot believe this is happening. I still cannot believe this is happening.
So
Okay.
his wife gets home sometime at about 2:00 on that morning. So
No, she got home on Sunday.
Pardon me,
She got home
Sunday.
on Sunday.
She got home on Sunday. So did you ever talk to him late on Sunday night?
No, we were on the phone, but I mean, I had to let him go and get up and go to work.
That was the
So
9 to
sometimes-
11 call it was like a 2-hour phone call we talked about yesterday on Sunday night from 9 p.m. to 11.
And that would have been the last time that I talked to him until the work day.
That's like the meat of this whole
Let's get to the phone call on Saturday from 9 to 11. What did you guys, or pardon me, on Sunday from 9 to 11?
Yeah, we talked a few times. So Sunday, I think so. I need to think. I can't even think.
Take a couple breaths and take a second.
Sunday night. I don't even know. I don't think I was like concerned about anything at that point.
You guys had had a nice meal the night before. You knew his wife was probably coming home late that evening.
Oh, you know what? I still don't remember what we talked about. I honestly, we talk about so much random stuff. It's so hard to pinpoint some of these things. I don't remember what we talked about. I do remember that was a long phone conversation though. We probably talked about all sorts of stuff. One thing I do remember though, that I didn't remember earlier when I was talking to Mark. So this is where I'm starting to remember little bits and pieces. I don't remember. Yeah, I know. So the phone conversation, I don't remember what was in the phone conversation. Probably nothing of relevance, to be honest with you. But usually he talks to me when he's down in the basement in his bed before he goes to bed and before I go to bed. And I could hear the TV on, which I thought was kind of weird. I didn't ask him. I just heard it in the background. And I remember thinking, and it was right before we got off the phone. I was like, why the hell is he up? And there's no TV downstairs. So I was like, well, maybe, I don't know.
No TV in the basement where he usually calls you from.
Yeah, and I don't know how many TVs they have. I've never been in their bedroom. I went upstairs once and it was to their little playroom and I just looked at it and I was like, that's super cute that your girls have books. And that was it. And other than that, I have never been in any of those rooms in that upstairs. To me, it was just you don't know, ever. I had no, so I don't know if he has any other TVs. I'm assuming by how much other nice stuff they have in their house, it wouldn't surprise me. So I'm not quite sure what room he was in at that point. But I just remember hearing the TV and I was like, it was just weird to me because I was like, why are you watching TV right now? It is super late.
So his wife gets home sometime at about 2:00 on that morning. So
No, she got home on Sunday.
Pardon me,
She got home
Sunday.
on Sun-
she got home on Sunday. So did you ever talk to him late on Sunday night?
No, we were on the phone, but I mean, I had to let him go and get up and go to work.
That was
So
the 9 to
sometimes-
11 call it was like a 2-hour phone call we talked about yesterday on Sunday night from 9 p.m. to 11.
And that would have been the last time that I talked to him until the work day.
But I just remember hearing the TV, and I was like, it was just weird to me because I was like, why are you watching TV right now? It is like super late.
Okay, so welcome everyone. Like my headphones that aren't my AirPods. My kid. So welcome everyone. Happy Monday evening, Labor Day. Happy Labor Day. I hope that you all had a nice weekend. Maybe did something fun for Labor Day. Let's see. Who is here? So let's see. Hi, Muck Boys. How are you? Welcome. I always like it when you're play this game, StreamYard. We're not going to do this today. Let's see. Let me just close. Give me just one sec here. Mute that. And let's see. Do I need that? Don't need that. Later. StreamYard, I'm already shopping for a new product. Get rid of that. Okay, there we go. Okay. So let's see. Hi, Nilda. How are you doing? Nice to see you. And hi, Aggie. How's it going? Nice to see you. Welcome. Hi, Edward. Hi, Tony. Sweet girl. How are you doing today? Let's see. Hi, Chris. CH. Again, if I pronounce your name wrong, please just let me know. I'd be happy to correct it. Let's see who else is here. Hi, T. Andrews. How are you doing? Welcome, my dear. Hi, Jody is cool. Always love it when you're here, my darling. I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a really good weekend. Let's see who else is here. Hi, Midge. How's it going? Nice to see you. Always nice to see you. Maltese Cross. Same to you. And hi, Utter Nutter, one of our other wonderful moderators. You guys are so great. Thank you for being here. Hi, C. Cloves Birdie. How are you doing? Welcome. Nice to see you here as well. I always like to read your comments under video. Thank you for leaving them. Hi, Nancy N. My girl. Nancy N. I was talking to Nancy N. earlier. A conversation with her is what inspired this live stream this evening. Hi, Val Jean. How are you doing? Welcome. Nice to see you as well. And I'm going to go up just a little farther. Let's see here. We got more Muck Boys. Hello, Fluffy Muppet. Oh, I really like that name. Welcome. How are you? Nice to see you. Welcome. Welcome to Watch the Obsession live stream and discussion. Let's see. LJ, how are you doing? LJ, I'll be right back. I hope you came back, LJ. Hope you're here. Nice to see you. And let's see. And if I go up any further, who knows if these people are even here anymore. So, all right. Well, welcome, everybody. I'm glad you guys are here. Now, we are going to look at the data and the information that can be gleaned from Chris Watts' personal phone and his work phone per the discovery documents when he was at Cervi 319 specifically. We're going to look at one little section that's going to discuss the time from when he left his home at 2825 Saratoga Trail to when he arrived to Cervi 319. But for the most part, we're going to be looking at that timeline at Cervi 319. Now, why is it important to look at the timeline of Chris Watts' cellular phone and cellular transmissions at Cervi 319? Now, remember, he had two phones, his work phone and his personal phone. Now, this might answer questions that are critical questions like, is there more than one person there? Does his cellular transmission indicate that there was more than one person there or that he was there on his own? And I'll tell you more about that as we go along. It's going to tell us things like the time that he arrived somewhere, the time that he left a certain location, flights climbed, steps taken, health data. We're going to look at all of those really great things this evening. Now, I just want to play you just a couple minutes from the Chris Watts interview when he was in Dodge Prison. This was on February 18th, 2019, several months after he was sentenced and started serving his prison term. Because this back and forth between himself and Tammy Lee mostly, Dave Baumhover interjects a little bit here, and possibly Graham Coder as well. I really don't like this line of questioning. I find it to be extremely bothersome. And the reason is, this is a part where Tammy Lee asks Chris Watts like 5 questions in a row without allowing him to answer the questions. You know, for the most part, I mean, what do I know? I'm not a trained and skilled investigator like Tammy Lee of Colorado Bureau of Investigation, but for my untrained ear, you know, she clearly does a good job for the most part. But this, I think you're going to share my frustration. I just want to say, like, come on, let him answer the freaking question that you asked, because these are critical questions, right? So let me go ahead and bring this portion of the interview into the stream here. And we'll just take a listen. See, I couldn't find my version that has better audio. I have too many files on my computer right now. So we're just going to play this version from the TV station, Denver 7. I think we'll start right around here.
Like all her Thrive friends, everybody that was just like, it would just broke just that hole in their heart just a little bit bigger every time. I didn't want that. I knew it would have gotten worse. I didn't want it to get any worse than it already was.
Did you ever think about, well, you know, it could be very believable what I told him. It could be very believable that Shanann did, you know, end the girls. And so maybe if I tried to convince people that, maybe if I fought with my attorneys on that, maybe I could lessen it somehow. Did you ever think about that?
Honestly, I never even thought about the story until you guys mentioned it.
Yeah. Okay.
I wondered.
I never even thought about it until you guys mentioned it.
So what did you think about it once it got mentioned?
It's just like I just went with it. I didn't like, you know, I knew my dad was out there. I knew it was like, you know, I knew they would probably believe it because, you know, my mom and my sister just never really liked Shanann. I knew it, like, you know, I mean, through all this, like, I got letters from some of my friends that even said, you know, when we went over to your house, we could see, you know, Shanann was more of a dominant personality and more of like, you know, you're always helping with the kids and everything. And just, you know, you're a great dad and everything. We could see, you know, a couple things that I never saw or, you know, whatnot. And even my best friend Mark can say, you know, there was always, you know, something, you know, I didn't really get with Shanann. I was like, nobody ever told me any of this stuff, but okay. But yeah, it was, I never thought about that story. And, you know, that's what my attorneys were going with.
Yeah.
And then, like, I think it was probably the second week I told them, like, what had really happened.
What'd they say after that?
They were quiet. They were writing it down. They said they wouldn't judge me. So I told them. I told them everything that happened. And they, you know, appreciated, like, I guess, you know, most of the time, you know, their defendant or their, you know, defense don't, like, tell them actually what happened. That it would have, like, made them look, you know, foolish and stupid and just, like, you know, unprepared. And I'm just like, this is what happened. And they, you know, like, you know, her watch, her phone, like, you know, if I was actually, like, if I'd planned this, I would probably just take it out to the field, you know. But,
What about her ring and stuff? What were you thinking about that?
it's like, you know, maybe she actually really wanted a divorce. Maybe she didn't want to fix it. Just put it there on the counter.
She took it off? Or did you take it off?
I took it off.
Okay. Oh, so that would look like she was saying, I want a divorce. I'm leaving it here when I'm taken off. I see.
So the phone and her watch and the couch, was that morning before you left to go to Cervi? Okay.
Yeah, 'cause I think Nicole's son found it or something.
Yeah.
What other things did you do that maybe we even missed?
on the phone and watch. You know, I think I threw the therapy book she wanted me to read.
All right, just a minute. Hold up. StreamYard is playing these reindeer games again. You aren't missing anything. I just had to adjust the audio. Come on, StreamYard.
In the trash.
That was that morning.
I think so.
Were you trying to make it look like she threw it in the trash?
I don't know. I just
Oh.
I just didn't think nothing was ever going to work again. So I didn't know what was going on.
Did you go down to the basement? I thought the basement door open.
Yeah, the door is open, but yeah. So there was a lot of movement. You know, I think it was around 4:26 or something. And the garage door opening, the basement door opening, and then of course the living room sensors and all. Do you remember what you were doing all during that time? Other than
You had a lot of
going in and out
steps.
the garage.
I'll just say that.
Okay. So like the basement, I'm not sure. I mean, the only thing I really have down there is my workout, the bench press.
Do you remember going down there for anything or opening that door for anything? Did you think about, well, maybe I'll take her out that way, or is it a walkout basement?
No,
I wasn't at your house. Okay.
that's like a garden level basement. So
Okay.
But no, I don't remember really. What's up? I don't think it worked out that morning.
Like, were you packing your lunch in the kitchen? Like, did you have
yeah.
to do all that normal stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I packed lunch and everything. Did all that. I don't.
So now listen carefully here to how he answers these questions. I'm going to go back just about 15 seconds because this is when they are saying, so listen, you had like a lot of steps. She says, I'll just say that you had a lot of steps around 4:30 in the morning. I think it's the time that she puts out there. What were you doing? And this is where also she throws out those like 5 consecutive questions without allowing him to answer, which is maddening. But the best you can, just listen to what he says. Go back just a little bit. Listen carefully.
Open, but yeah. So there was a lot of movement. You know, I think it was around 4:26 or something. And the garage door opening, the basement door opening, and then of course the living room sensors and all. Do you
4:26. How curious that he remembers the exact time, right? Must be a pretty big deal.
remember what you were doing all during that time? Other than
You had a lot of
going in and out
steps.
the garage.
I'll just say that.
Okay. So like the basement, I'm not sure. I mean, the only thing I really have down there is my workout, the bench press.
Do you remember going down there for anything or opening that door for anything? Did you think about, well, maybe I'll take her out that way, or is it a walkout basement?
No,
I wasn't at your house. Okay.
that's like a garden level basement. So
Okay.
But no, I don't remember really. What's up? I don't think it worked out that morning.
Like, were you packing your lunch in the kitchen? Like, did you
Oh,
have to
yeah.
do all that normal stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I packed lunch and everything. Did all that. I don't remember about the basement. Unless I just worked out that morning, I just don't remember. I don't think it did.
So one of the more
Unless there was a trash bag down there, then
Yeah, you got trash bags in there.
maybe there wasn't any in the garage. I went down there and got one.
Do you normally carry a roll of trash bags in your truck?
No,
So there was a roll in your truck.
I was.
Yeah.
Maybe I just grabbed it and brought it with me in
That would have been kept in the basement, maybe,
the
or
basement or the garage.
the garage. I'm sorry. What were you saying, Graham?
one of the more kind of poignant or tender moments in all of this was seeing you with your dad when he came in. What was it like when you picked him up at the airport?
It was very strange. It was kind of like I almost knew this was probably the last time I'd ever see him on the outside. In my head, I knew that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that is the critical point that I wanted you guys to listen to when they asked, what did he do during that time when there was a lot of steps recorded on his phone, on the health app? Baumhofer puts it out there, 4:26 a.m. So he has a very specific time in his mind. This must be some point that they had been looking at a lot and just couldn't figure it out, right? So this is one of the many questions that might be answered, or we might be given an indication of exactly what happened by looking at the phone data, including the health app information. Thank you guys for noticing and liking my nice peachy color. Not a color I wear very often. I saw those comments. Thanks. You guys are so sweet. So, all right, what I'm going to do is bring a presentation that I made into the stream now. So this presentation I had used maybe once or twice in the past, a while back, not recently. But I have since updated it and added information and corrected a couple points that I got wrong. Like, it's very easy to mix up Chris Watts' personal phone, which is item 41, and work phone, which is item 40. Anyone can do it. Flip-flopped it once, not 2 or 3 or 4 times like some other people have, but that's cool. I corrected it. I might flip-flop it again. Hey, I'm human. We all make mistakes, right? It's all good. So let's see, stop screen. And then I'm going to bring this bad bleep PowerPoint into the stream. Oh, Carol M, by the way, listen, girl, we got it. I pinned that comment because I want you to know you're not alone. None of us understand why we're so obsessed. Okay, let's see. Okay. Slide. Let's go to slide. And version 2. Yes, nice. This works. I want to make that big though. What does this look like? Oh, look, I like that. Okay. There's some new layout features on StreamYard. Hi guys. Hi everybody that just came in. Miss C.D. Isaacs, Blair, welcome. Jody P.S., welcome. Just Nate, welcome. How are you doing? Just Nate, I haven't seen you in a while. Nice to see you. Hi Green Eyes, welcome. Nice to see you. Aaron, caution. I'm not reading it. I just remember seeing you come in. I feel like I was just going to mess up your name. I'm sorry. Hi, John McSmith, my friend. How are you doing? Hope your back is doing well. Aaron, on the side of caution. That's what I thought it was. Hi, Rosie, sweetheart. How are you doing? Welcome. It's so great to see you. Carol M, of course, this is the support group. Girl, you found it. And hi, Stevie. How are you? Great to see you. Glad you're here. Green Eyes, I think I already said hi. Let me just go up a little bit. Red Librarian. I like that name. My aunt's a librarian. She got her law degree. Actually went to the same law school as her, and then she got her business degree, and then she stopped doing both, and she got her degree and master's degree in library science. Who knew? And she loves it. Colby 317. Hi, welcome. How are you doing? Nice to see you. Let me just catch another couple people I saw, and then we will get started. And if I missed you along the way, I'm sorry. Just say hi. I'll say hi back. Everybody likes to be acknowledged, right? It's like a human thing. We all like to know that people see us and appreciate that we're here. Downtown Wonder. That was one I was looking for. Hi, Dawn. Welcome. How are you doing? Kellyanne J. Hi, how are you? Okay. So let's see. I'm just going to stop my cam. This will make things run a little smoother. Okay. All right. So cellular data, what it can and can't tell, among many other things. So I'm going to make this big so I can read it. All right. So we're going to be looking at 2 things. We have Chris Watts' work phone. His work phone is item number 40 in the discovery. Just in case you're wondering, and because it is relevant, his work phone carrier is Verizon. The model is an iPhone 5S. The date of release of the iPhone is September 2013. The operating system is an iOS 7, and his processor is a 13.3 gigahertz dual core. Chris Watts' personal phone is item 41 in discovery. That carrier is AT&T. So I just want to pause to notice that Chris Watts' personal phone and his work phone, here's the work phone, here's the personal phone, they have 2 different carriers. So when you're talking about a location like Cervi 319 out in the middle of nowhere in 2018, that could be a critical fact. The model, it says Discovery tells us it's a model MN522LL/A. Research tells us that's the model number for an iPhone 7 Plus. Date of release, September 2016. processor, it's a quad core, RAM, 3 gigabytes. So just looking at the critical differences between the work phone and personal phone, the work phone is Verizon. It's an earlier model. I've made statements in the past about the different processors and the RAM. I was refuted about those statements by some people. Some people I spoke with personally, not in YouTube land, had various opinions on that. So you know what? I don't really know. I don't know so much about the processor and the RAM. But the important things are work phone, Verizon, earlier model, personal phone, AT&T, later model, more updated. All right. So what does this mean? Essentially, a dual core processor processes twice data, twice as fast as a single core, and a quad core processes 4 times as fast as a single core. RAM. For iPhones, RAM, random access memory, is not as important as it is in an Android phone due to proprietary technology. However, if several applications are running at once, a higher RAM phone will be more efficient. Conclusion: a better processor and higher RAM will ultimately make for a faster and better phone. And this includes when a phone connects to a tower or antenna. In terms of Watts' phone, and personal phone, his personal phone had a higher RAM, better processor. It's also a later model, which means it will connect faster, more readily when it is working hard to find a network. All right, so you know what? I just want to get my mug out of here so I can just show you this. Just one sec. Get to StreamYard, change the view. All right. All righty. So here we just have in Discovery where it is shown all of the information I just relayed to you. You'll see item number 40, Chris Watts' work cell phone. It's a black iPhone 5S model, yada, 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 yada. Item number 41, Chris Watts' personal cell phone, black iPhone model, yada, 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 yada. Okay, so request. Detective Dave Baumhover, Frederick Police Department, requested items 40, 41, 42, and 43. 42 and 43 are Shanann and Nicole Kessinger's cell phones, respectively. Be processed for evidence related an ongoing homicide investigation. Legal authority is based on signed search warrants. I don't think I need to read the rest of that. I just wanted to show you Discovery backs up what I just showed you in the presentation I created. So again, item 40 is a black colored iPhone 5S. Prior to processing, photos were taken to document the phone's condition. This phone was secured by way of a PIN, which was provided. Prior to processing the phone, it was placed in a Ramsey box to charge. It was determined the phone was in airplane mode, and therefore the phone was removed and processed using both Celebrite and Axiom. I reviewed the timeline within the Celebrite report, and it appeared the last message on 8/12/18 was sent at 18:12, and the next message was sent on Monday the 13th at 6:31 a.m., following an attempted phone call to Cody Roberts at 6:29 a.m. So these are the communications that Chris Watts makes to Cody Roberts when he's on his way out to Cervi 319 on Monday morning, August 13th, after he departs his home at 2825 Saratoga Trail. That's where we see that footage from neighbor Nate's camera. We see him loading things into the truck. That's the phone call they're referencing. Now, what's critical here in this little blurb that I just read is that prior to processing, the phone was placed in a Ramsey box. What is a Ramsey box? A Ramsey box is a box that will charge your phone, and it will electromagnetically not allow any communication to come into or out of the phone. Essentially, nothing can be changed. Once a phone is put into a Ramsey box, you don't have the ability to, do anything remotely to change the contents of the phone. You can't remote in any way to alter the information. Also of possible importance, it was determined the phone was in airplane mode, and therefore the phone was removed and processed using both Celebrite and Axiom. So I think the important thing there is just to remember that a phone can be in airplane mode, in which case it will transmit information differently than when it is in not airplane mode. Okay, so Chris Watts' work phone, item number 40. We note there were 481 steps around 4:30 a.m. Those were the steps that Dave Baumhover and Tammy Lee were just referencing in the portion of the interview from Dodge Correctional Facility in Wisconsin. Unfortunately, Tammy Lee, as we just noted, did not really let Chris Watts answer any questions. Would he have answered any questions anyway with anything meaningful and truthful? We don't know. His history is not good, but it would have been nice to give it a shot, right? Right here it says we do know why, but what it should say is we do not know why, meaning we do not know why there were 481 steps taken at 4:30 a.m. It makes sense that very few steps were clocked around 6 a.m., the time Chris Watts was driving to Cervi 319. So I'm just following this little timeline that we see as a picture here or a graph based on Chris Watts' health app data. You see there were steps clocked from around 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. continuously, with that small exception that we see when there's a dip in the number of steps on the graph. There's that lower bar when Chris Watts was driving his truck ostensibly from his home to Cervi 319. This is Chris Watts' work phone again that we're looking at right now. Okay, we're still looking at Chris Watts' work phone, item number 40. We have the walking and running distance. Again, around 4:30 a.m., some distance was clocked. Again, it makes sense that around 6 a.m., little distance was covered, according to the app. The distance clocked after 6 a.m., when Watts would have arrived at Cervi, the distance traveled went up again. So let me put that in different terms. I think I just fumbled over my word. I'm watching that mic mute thing. I don't know what the heck. Let's see. Okay, hold it. Let me just make sure you can hear me. This is a StreamYard thing again, but I've got my eye on it, so I won't lose you for any period of time. Can you guys hear me? Nancy, StreamYard taking a piss. Yeah, taking the piss. Yeah, StreamYard no good. Let's see how far back. I don't think. Let's see. Yeah, StreamYard's messing with us. StreamYard's throwing us some, I don't know, little obstacles. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, you can hear me now. All right, very good. Back to the presentation. Yeah, StreamYard. Yeah, I'm looking around for a different service to use. Haven't found one yet. If anyone has any suggestions, please let me know. Did you hear this, StreamYard? All right. Okay, so now we'll go to the next slide. So again, we're looking at Chris Watts' work phone, item number 40. We see the above mentioned noted here. So I think I just went in a little closer, and we can see that the total of the walking and running distance is 0.66 miles. When we have that first spike around 4:30 a.m., when by all accounts, Chris Watts is just in his house. This is when, Baumhover and Tammy Lee just asked him, what's up? You had a lot of steps right then. We see a natural dip around 6 a.m. when Chris Watts was traveling from his home to Cervi 319. We see an increase around 7 a.m. Remember, he arrived at Cervi 319 at 6:56 a.m., so this makes total sense. As we were approaching 8 o'clock and into the 8 o'clock hour, there's even more steps. And of course, he's still walking around at 9 a.m. By this time, his coworkers are definitely there. Now, on this graph, it notes that at that 4:30 hour, where we see that first bar spike, the total of walking and running distance was 0.16 miles. Well, that's not a lot of mileage if that we're talking about your total exercise for the day. But if you're talking about just a range of a few minutes while you're just inside of your house, 0.16 miles is a lot of steps to take. I remember the first time I did anything with this presentation, this kind of information that I'm showing you right now. I put on my Fitbit or whatever it was, it was a Versa. Yeah, Fitbit Versa. Yeah. Why would that matter, Cal? I don't know. I've had a few of them. I don't know what they're called in my head. I get them all mixed up. So I put my Fitbit on and I was just walking around my house trying to get up to 0.16 miles in, about 20 minutes. I had to walk continuously. Didn't stop walking for about 20 minutes and I reached 0.16 miles. So I hope that gives you kind of a relative idea of what was going on. Okay. So Chris Watts' work phone, again, item number 40. I keep repeating that because it's really easy to mix them up, both for me and in your own mind. So I think it helps to repeat it. We see let's see, what is this? Is this the significant location feature? Yes, which uses a GPS, which stands for assisted GPS. Now, I'm just going to hop forward a few slides because all right, we're going to hop forward one slide actually to start. So there's a lot that one could tell you about the significant location feature. So for those of you that don't know this, I have a little bit of, bonus knowledge about Don't worry, I've got my eye on it. Whenever the volume goes up, off, I'll just go and correct it and we'll be on our merry way, okay? Super annoying, guys. Sorry about that. There's literally nothing I can do about that. Okay, so what I was saying was, for those of you that do or don't know this, I have some bonus information, I guess, about cell signals and telecommunications because I worked in the industry for 4.5, almost 5 years in site acquisition. So in site acquisition, what I had to do was figure out how to help a certain carrier expand their wireless capacity, basically. And I worked with radio frequency engineers and just the whole gamut of people that you need to make, the cellular industry work, and learned a whole lot of information. I also have the benefit of being friends with the person who employed me. He owns a site acquisition firm. I'm friends with both him and his partner, who was also recently a VP for Verizon. And I, since they're my friends, when they're not like, no, Kelly, we're not going to listen to this crap anymore. Not today. I have the benefit of being able to bounce some of this information pertaining to the Watts case off of them. But anyway, really, it's important to know how much I hate StreamYard. Okay, so when we're looking at significant locations, you can find this information out just by Googling this. So how accurate is significant locations on the iPhone? The significant location change is the least accurate of all the location monitoring types. Again, it's the least accurate of all location monitoring types. It only gets its update when there is a cell tower transition or change. This can mean a varying level of accuracy and updates based on where the user is. City area, more updates with more towers. Read, if you're out in the middle of podunk nowhere, as in where Cervi 319 is located, the significant location feature on an iPhone is going to be extraordinarily inaccurate, Why? Because it uses the technology called assisted GPS. What the hell does that mean? Let me tell. I'm going to go forward a few slides here. Don't worry, we'll get to all this goodie. All right. So iPhone has a GPS or assisted GPS. So assisted GPS determines location using the 30 plus satellites that are revolving around the Earth that a GPS locator relies upon relative to real time. This is the GPS part of the, what is that acronym, AGPS. The iPhone AGPS is different from standalone GPS. This is important to understand when you're looking at the data in this case, or really any other case that might use assisted GPS as a reference. It's different than standalone GPS because it is an assisted GPS. Assisted means the iPhone's AGPS uses other systems in addition to the GPS, cell phone communication, Wi-Fi, or 4G, 5G to assist in getting the location. That's why it's called assisted. Okay? So if anybody go and be telling you that this is so because the significant location feature says so, you'd be like, I ain't buying that. I'm not buying that. I know that's not true. Miss Kelly from Watts the Obsession told me how this works, and I know that's not true. Okay? All right, glad we got that out of the way. Okay, now, let's see. Okay, so let's go to there we go. This is noted as item 41 in Discovery. So item 41 is a black iPhone 7, which was secured with a pin. Here it is. The phone was removed from the evidence packaging and placed into the Ramsey box to prevent the phone from connecting to the cellular network. As I told you, the Ramsey box is going to prevent a phone from connecting to the cellular network. Therefore, someone will not have the ability to remote in, so to speak, and change the contents of the phone or anything it connects to. The phone was not in airplane mode. I briefly reviewed the phone's contents and noted several artifacts which were documented by way of processing photos. Some of those photos have been provided below. Photographs were taken on 8/13/2018 in the Rogan area. This information can be found within the locations data on the Cellbrite report. Now, this is not a GPS location. This is GPS location, much more reliable. A screen capture has been provided. Here we are looking at coordinates where a picture was taken at 7:18 a.m. That's item number 4 that I'm referring to. And those are, in fact, the Cervi coordinates. We'll get back to that. Now we're looking at Chris Watts' personal phone, item number 41. So here we're looking at the walk, run distance. So you will see that at, again, right around 4:30 a.m., his personal phone, just like his work phone, clocks a good distance on the walk, run distance feature of his health app. So that's a total of 0.19 miles. Now, this is relatively syncing up with what his work phone, clocked, which let me just show you here, which was at 4:30 a.m. 0.16 miles. So we have 0.16, we have 0.19. So what could account for that difference? I don't know. maybe one of those phones was, in a different mode, like an airplane mode for a short time. Maybe one of them was on the counter and then he put the one in his pocket. This is just when he was getting kind of moving to probably get out the door and do the evil that he was going to do, would be right around this hour. So the fact that these two phones sync up so closely at this obscure hour of 4:30 a.m., the same hour that the investigators were inquiring about when they went to visit Chris Watts at Dodge Correctional Facility in Wisconsin on February 18th, 2019. To me, this says those phones were in the same place. Not to mention that right after that 4:30 hour, we see that significant dip right around 6 a.m. here in the work phone. Let's consult what was recorded for the personal phone. We see approximately the same thing. Let's see. Yeah. So this is a different scale here. So, obviously it's a little different, but just as we saw on the work phone, on the personal phone, right around 6 a.m., there's almost no mileage clocked in the walk run feature of the app. And then sorry. Okay, here we go. So I need to explain this to you because it leads up to my theory on why this is. So we see that on both phones, sometime around the 7 o'clock hour, there's activity on both phones. Let me go back to, I should have done side by side, but I didn't. Let's see here. Okay, so we see here, 6, almost no activity. 7 o'clock on the work phone, there's more activity. And then on the work phone at 8 o'clock, the activity. Sorry about that. Thank you, StreamYard. On the cell phone, the personal cell phone, we have that dip. Let me find the best one to look at. Looking for a small, they're just on a different scale here. All right, this one's going to make do. We have that dip at 6 o'clock, increase again at 7. And then on the personal phone, sometime during the 7 o'clock hour, activity on his personal phone all but stops, except for a little tiny bit right at 9, and then a little bit again sometime in the 10 o'clock hour. So now we can see that the personal phone and the cell phone data I hate you, StreamYard. I'm on top of it, though. All right. So again, we have steps taken here. Oh, yikes. Bunny jump. Again, this is just a different scale, showing the exact same information. So here's a historical location information again. So this is a significant location feature, which is, I didn't get the whole screenshot here, but it's putting Chris Watts on both phones out at the Cervi ranch sometime during the morning of There have been people that have said that because we do not this is painful. I'm so sorry. Let's see. What else can I get rid of? We can get rid of this. We can get rid of that. I think we can get rid of this too. Hold up. Let me get rid of everything I don't absolutely need here. Okay. Hopefully this will be better. Okay, let me try that again. there are people that have said because does not show up on the significant location feature until later in the morning, that means that Chris Watts did not show up in the Rogan area till later in that morning. Well, balderdash, that's just not true. Is that what balderdash means? Let's go back to the work phone. Yeah, we see here that, let's see, on Monday, August 13th, 2008, we see the first time that the significant location feature picks up this Rogan area is at 9:02 a.m. That's on Chris Watts' work phone, right? Now, let's go to the personal phone. I just want to look at it and understand it for what it is. Okay, now here on when we're looking at Chris Watts' work phone, the significant location feature first registers as Chris Watts being in that location 6:58. Here, let's see. There we go. I'm going to get rid of the mic. Okay, I hope there's no echo. I don't know what's going on here, but can everyone hear me okay? This is killing me. Okay, so what we're specifically looking at right now is when Chris Watts' work phone registers in the significant location feature as being in the Rogan area on his personal phone, that happens at 6:58 a.m. And we know that he gets there at 6:56 a.m. And we know that because that is with the GPS information provided by Tony Husky, who is the regional security manager for Anadarko. He provides that information. We know that with a great degree of reliability. So this is what you'd expect. The Chris Watts personal phone shows up, it registers at 6:58. It's 2 minutes after we know that he gets there to Rogan, right? Now, people have made a big deal about the fact that his work phone does not show as being in Rogan. Look at the second line down here where it says 9:02 to 9:30 a.m. until 9:02 a.m. on Monday, August 13th, 2018. That is easily explained by a couple of things I'm going to walk you through. It does not mean that Chris Watts' work phone was not in Rogan until 9:02. That's just silliness. First piece of information we need to know is how accurate is the significant locations feature on an iPhone. The significant location feature is the least accurate of all of the location monitoring types. It only gets its updates when there is a cell tower transition or change. This can mean varying level of accuracy and updates based on where the user is. City area, more updates with more towers. Read rural area out in the middle of Podunk, USA, not a lot of towers, not a lot of cellular cell tower transition, not a lot of reads, not a lot of accuracy. Well, you might say, why is it that Chris Watts' work phone here, item number 40, didn't register in the significant location as being in Rogan until 9:02 a.m.? But wait a minute, Kelly, we know that Chris Watts' personal phone registered as being in Rogan at 6:58 a.m. when you just told us he actually got there at 6:56. Well, no kidding, folks, because let's go back to the beginning of this presentation. Chris Watts' work phone has Verizon service. It's a model iPhone 5S, which date of release for that model was September 2013. Chris Watts' personal phone is AT&T. Discovery tells us the model number. When you do a little research, meaning a Google search, we learn it's an iPhone 7 Plus. Date of release for that phone is September 2016. It's a significantly newer phone. And during this time in 2018, Verizon had very little coverage in the plains of Colorado. I did a presentation on this once upon a time. I should have brought it in here. You'll just have to take my word for it now. I will follow up with giving you all the information if you haven't seen it from me yet. So it makes absolutely perfect sense, given the fact that the significant location feature is the least accurate of all of the location monitoring types based on AGPS, which I just explained, that Chris Watts' work phone does not register in Rogan in the significant locations until 9:02 a.m., whereas his personal phone registers being there reliably right after we know he actually got there based on the GPS data at 6:58 a.m. Are you guys staying with me? Does anyone have any questions? Let me break for some questions. Is this over your head? Is this too complex? Is there anything I could ask or answer, I guess just answer, to make this more understandable for you? That's super weird. Okay. Let's see if we can figure that out. Yeah, I want that to be bigger. Okay, so hold it. Let me make the check size a little bit bigger. Oh, there we go. All right. So, You're following it? Good. I'm glad Edward's following along. Yeah, Edward. Can you just give it a high level summary? I will at the end, Stevie. Yeah, I get it. I know it's dense information. Oh, good. Wow. Nancy N., who is technologically requires remediation, says, very well stated, Kelly. I understand. So you know you're doing a perfect job explaining. That reassures me, Nancy. Thank you, my dear. Hi, Dave BMX11. Nice to see you. I'm so happy you're here. I haven't seen you in a while. Yay. We have a guest of honor for the moment. Great to see you, friend. You're hanging. Yarn Mittens is also hanging. Good. Let's see. Hi, Juicy Jules. How are you? Hi, Double R. Nice to see you as well. Oh, all our friends are here. This is great. Yep, Kelly, I'm right there with you. Good. Okay. All right. I'm going to continue on then. If at least some of you feel like you're hanging, let's keep going. I will give you that high level summary, Stevie. And if anyone else has questions in the meantime, please throw them out there. Again, I know this is really, it's dense. Shizzle. Let's see. Hi, Michelle. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Women are pretty desperate to even like him. He's a monster. I know. I saw you guys were talking about the women that contact him in jail. Like, oh, yeah, monster's putting it lightly. Right. I know. Understatement. I know. It's like, what words do you choose for this man? Yes, and all that too. Yeah, and I'm sorry I just disconnected the mic. StreamYard seems to be happier with that. I'm sorry about that volume thing. It's really not okay with me. But that's what StreamYard's doing. Thank you, Muck Boys. I really appreciate that. I'll check out your email. I really appreciate that. I think I know what you're referring to, but I very much appreciate that. Yes. Hurtful things have been said, but people are under the influence of others and we are like, it's all good and we move on. So thank you very much for the email. All right. So That's very nice. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, that was in the past life past. Okay. So why question that I posed as we were looking at this data and we were looking at the difference between Chris Watts' work phone versus his personal phone, we noticed that sometime during the 7 o'clock hour, the distance covered, according to the health app, on Chris Watts' personal phone stopped, but it kept going with his work phone, right? So let's just take a quick look at that. So Chris Watts' personal phone here, you'll see, if you can read that, where the big spike is at 4:30, where there's a note attached. Then there's still activity going on around the 7 o'clock hour. That's that next little bar you see on the graph. And then there's like nothing for a little while. But if you're looking at his work phone, we see, let's see, that there's a lot of activity. The activity the investigators were asking about at 4:30. Things chill out at 6 o'clock, of course, because he's driving to Cervi 319. Increase around 7 and increase even more around 8. So on the work phone, his steps increase around 8 a.m. On the personal phone, his steps really fall off sometime in the 7 o'clock hour. Why is that? It only makes sense to me that it was due to the picture taken at 7:18 a.m. And that picture was taken from Watts' personal phone. So it's only one of 3 events on the cell phone that occur that morning from his personal phone, according to what we are privy to via discovery. So it is my opinion that Chris Watts took whatever picture he took from his personal cell phone, did whatever he did with it, and then put it down in his truck, right? That makes sense. It's the work day. You keep your work phone on you, except for when you're climbing tanks and things like that, because that's a clear health hazard. And you leave your personal phone in your truck. So what exactly do we know about the picture taken from Chris Watts' personal phone at 7:18 a.m.? In discovery, this is what's said. Watts took a photograph of his laptop screen, presumably sitting in his truck. And it confirms there that's item 41. And it gives the timeline number and the image number. The note from the forensic data analyst says the metadata confirms Watts was at the Cervi coordinates. The image is apparently only in thumbnail format, and enlarging it blurs out the writing on the laptop screen. Now, I've told you this story before. It's only anecdotal. It's secondhand. It's from a friend of mine who's I just call him the computer guy. Well, he has a name too, but I'm not telling you what that is. He was over at my house fixing my son's Xbox, whatever it was. And, he was over here for a while. It took a while to fix. I was going through some of the stuff. I bounced off of him what I could that needed like a computer dude's expertise to read more into it than I could. So I showed him this, read him this. He looked at it and he was like, that's total BS. The fact that the note says the image is apparently only in thumbnail format and enlarging it blurs out the writing on the laptop screen. He's like, there is absolutely no way in hell they didn't have easy, ready access to technological capabilities that would allow them to see whatever the writing was on that screen. But this note itself gives us a hint as to what he took a picture of. We know it wasn't just a really pretty picture because the note itself notes that something is going to happen to the writing on the laptop screen when you attempt to enlarge the thumbnail. So whatever he took the picture of had writing. And I personally believe that would be the level of the oil tanks, because we know that capability exists due to some things that Troy McCoy said. Let's see. Does anyone want to come up and say anything on panel? I am going to take a moment to find something because I had to close down most of my things running in the background here due to StreamYard being such a high achieving video streaming service. No, not how it is. So let me everybody just take a breather, take a break, absorb. Let me know if you have any questions. Although we don't normally like to write in caps in the chat, if you do have a question or a critical comment at this juncture relative pertaining to the material that we've been going over, go ahead and pop that baby in caps so I can see it. Oh, but wait a minute. Hold up. While I'm looking for this little soundbite, we do need to talk about something here. Oh, is it one of you messaging me? Yeah, totally, Joan. We didn't discuss what about that evil, demonic look on a certain somebody's face in the video that I played in the very beginning of this stream. I'm going to play that little video intro again, or at least just a part of it, because like, yikes. Did you guys catch that? Here we go. All right, let me bring this into the stream really quick while I find what I'm looking for. Oops, okay. I'm gonna have to pop my mic back in. Hopefully this is gonna work. Oh boy. Why do you cause me so much anxiety, StreamYard? So much anxiety, StreamYard. Right here. Let's see. All right, come on. Okay. Let me just bring this into the stream here. So I'm gonna, share, and share alike. All right. Okay, so what we're looking for is the evil look. I don't know. It's like a minute and a half in. It's a couple times, but. Wait for it. Wait for it. Look at that. Creepy. Creepy. Yes, Stevie, you get the dramatic effect.
That's the best I can tell you from a time.
It happens again.
Can you give us a better idea of her role in the investigation, how forthcoming she was and how she helped?
She originally came forward and spoke to investigators on her own volition.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm really trying to help you guys. I need you guys to help me too. Like,
Yes,
we'll
ma'am.
do this as a team, but just don't
So
fucking let me down,
the
please.
reason why we can't, like, I think.
Prior to the time, unfortunately, that she came in and spoke with investigators, she had deleted all of the information off of her phone that had any connection between her and Chris Watts. That hampered the investigation.
You know, they're going to say, oh, the woman that had an affair with this man who took out his whole family. And I take a step back and it's just like, I didn't know. Like, it's.
That hampered our ability to get that electronic digital connection between the two.
Why? Ow!
She was interviewed on multiple occasions. I believe that for the most part, she was forthcoming in the course of those investigations. We don't have any reason to believe that she had any prior knowledge or involvement in the death of Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and Nico. I think that's the best way I can answer that. Yes, sir.
I still cannot believe this is I still cannot believe this is
So his wife gets home sometime at about 2 o'clock on that morning. So
No, she got home on Sunday.
Pardon me,
She got home
Sunday.
on Sunday.
She got home on Sunday. So did you ever talk to him late on Sunday night?
No, we were on the phone, but I mean, I had to let him go and get up and go to work.
That was the 9 to 11 call that it was like a 2-hour phone call we talked about yesterday on Sunday night from 9 p.m. to 11.
And that would have been the last time that I talked to him until the work day.
That's the meat of this whole
Let's get to the phone call on Saturday from 9 to 11. What did you guys, or pardon me, on Sunday from 9 to 11?
Yeah, we talked a few times. So Sunday, I think so. I need to think. I can't even think.
Take a couple breaths and take a second.
I don't even know. I don't think I was like concerned about anything at that point.
You guys had had a nice meal the night before. You knew his wife was probably coming home late that evening.
Oh, you know what? I still don't remember what we talked about. I honestly, we talked about so much random stuff. It's so hard to pinpoint some of these things. I don't remember what we talked about. I do remember that was a long phone conversation that we probably talked about all sorts of stuff. One thing I do remember though, that I didn't remember earlier when I was talking to Mark. So this is where I'm starting to remember little bits and pieces. I don't remember. Yeah, I know. So the phone conversation. I don't know. It was in the phone conversation. Probably nothing of relevance, to be honest with you. But usually he talks to me when he's down in the basement in his bed before he goes to bed and before I go to bed. And I could hear the TV on, which I thought was kind of weird. I didn't ask him. I just heard it in the background. And I remember thinking, and it was right before we got off the phone. I was like, why the hell is he up? And there's no TV downstairs. So I was like, well, maybe, I don't know.
So no TV in the basement where he usually calls you from.
Yeah, and I don't know how many TVs they have. I've never been in their bedroom. I went upstairs once and it was to their little playroom and I just looked at it and I was like, that's super cute that your girls have books. And that was it. And other than that, I have never been in any of those rooms in that upstairs. To me, it was just you don't know, ever. I had no, so I don't know if he has any other TVs. I'm assuming by how much other nice stuff they have in their house. It won't surprise me. So I'm not quite sure what room he was in at that point. But I just remember hearing the TV and I was like, it was just weird to me because I was like, why are you watching TV right now? It was super late.
So his wife gets home sometime at about 2 o'clock on that morning. So
No, she got home on Sunday.
Pardon me, Sunday. She got home on Sunday. So did you ever talk to him late on Sunday night?
No, we were on the phone, but I mean, I had to let him go and get up and go to work.
That was the 9 to 11 call that it was like a 2-hour phone call we talked about yesterday on Sunday night from 9 p.m. to 11.
And that would have been the last time that I talked to him until the work day.
But I just remember hearing the TV and I was like, it was just weird to me because I was like, why are you watching TV right now? It is super late.
Yeah, right. Oh man, don't even. So now back to that look, guys. Seriously, that look is terrifying. Terrifying. She looks like satanic. Oops, hold it. Let me stop playing this. So now what I want to listen to is just a little tiny excerpt of a Troy McCoy interview. Well, not the, because there's 2 of them. This is from Mommy Rambling's channel. This was just the first one that came up. It's somewhere in my channel, but I couldn't find it. So thank you, Mommy Ramblings. I'll link in the description. So now this is in regards to that picture that is taken from Chris Watts' personal phone. It's 7:18 a.m. the morning of August 13th, 2018. I think this is it. I was just looking at the transcript. I think this is it. Let's see.
Gate. And as soon as you hit that intersection where you turn and go to the gate, you can turn right, and then you head up that hill just a little ways. And then, like I was telling you, that riverbed, and you cross the riverbed, and the 1029 is right there.
Okay.
So all those wells are pretty short driving distance from each other.
Yeah. Okay. And to your knowledge, he didn't go back to the 319.
No. But Chad and I were staying on location at the 1029 because we had to call, thanks Steve Ordinati, and he shoots fluid levels for us because we had that pumping unit going for almost 2 hours, and the stuffing box was heating up. Polish rod, because there was no fluid. It wouldn't bring any fluid down hole. So I don't know if something's happened down hole of the pump, but the stuffing box was right on top of the wellhead. And as soon as that thing heats up, you have to keep spraying it and putting grease on it and everything like that to keep it cool. Because as soon as you burn those rubbers, if any fluid does come up, then it will go all over the place.
Sure.
So we had to shut the unit down, change out the stuffing box rubbers, and then we gave Steve Ordinati a call, and he has a echometer type deal where he shoots nitrogen into the backside of the casing so you can see the fluid level. So actually he shot it into a tube, but you can see the fluid level on his computer because it can tell you that sound wave that runs down the well, it can tell you where all the collars are and everything. I stayed out there while they shot the fluid level.
Okay, did you guys catch that? So now remember, what I'm saying to you is the reason that there's a difference between Chris Watts' work phone and personal phone regarding the distance traveled, the walking and running distance. They're in sync at 4:30. They're in sync at 5. They're in sync at 6. They're in sync at the 7 o'clock hour. Sometime during the 7 o'clock hour, they become dramatically not in sync, where Chris Watts' work phone continues to track distance in the walk, run, distance feature of his phone, and his personal phone does not. See, here in the personal phone, we see that depicted in the steps taken. In the work phone, we see that depicted in the steps taken. 4:30, lots of steps. 6 o'clock, no steps. He's driving to Cervi 319. 7 o'clock, more steps. 8 o'clock, even more steps. Now it's on a different scale, remember? So just let your little eyes move around. 4:30, lots of steps. 6 o'clock, no steps. 7 o'clock, that second peak that in, we see more steps. And sometime in the 7 o'clock hour, the steps drop off for a while. I'm proposing to you that is because Chris Watts took a picture on his personal phone, only 3 events that happened that morning on his personal phone at 7:18 a.m. of his computer screen. And in my proposition to you, that picture on his computer screen was, well, let's let our boy Troy McCoy answer one more time.
Unit going for almost 2 hours, and the stuffing box was heating up.
And to your knowledge, he didn't go back to the 319.
No, but Chad and I were staying on location at the 1029 because we had to call, thanks Steve Ordinati, and he shoots fluid levels for us because we had that pumping unit going for almost 2 hours, and the stuffing box was heating up. And the polish rod, because there was no fluid, it wouldn't bring any fluid down hole. So I don't know if something's happened down hole of the pump, but the stuffing box is right on top of the wellhead, and as soon as that thing heats up, you have to keep spraying it and put grease on it and everything like that to keep it cool, because as soon as you burn those rubbers, if any fluid does come up, then it will go all over the place.
Sure. Yeah.
So we had to shut the unit down, change out the stuffing box rubbers, and then we gave Steve Ordinati a call, and he has a echometer type deal where he shoots nitrogen into the backside of the casing so you can see the fluid level. So actually, he shot it into the tubing, but you can see the fluid level on his computer because it can tell you that sound wave that runs down the well. It'll tell you where all the calls are and everything. And I stayed out there while they shot the fluid level.
Okay. All right. So you work on the 1029 for the rest of the day.
Yes, and about 2 o'clock I left. Chad was out there longer because he was talking to Steve.
Okay. And you left, and what'd you do after that?
I left and went straight back toward like Hudson and everything, so I could come back into the middle of the field. That way I could be there if anybody needed anything, because being a field coordinator, you have to wait until everybody leaves the field and everybody checks out to make sure everybody makes it home safe before you can leave the field. So then as soon as the last person checked out, I can give you the time on that too.
Yeah.
Spread the bar. Okay, that's
Hi, Tammy. Welcome.
sorry, there's been a lot of activity in the group messages.
Yeah, I'm sure there has.
Get it, yeah.
Okay, so again, that was from Mommy Rambling's channel, because I couldn't find the audio that's on my channel. I saw that some of you had said there was an echo. I'm really sorry about that. StreamYard has been really bitchy this evening with the sound. It kept muting me. So I disconnected my mic, then reconnected the mic. So if there's anything that is like audio, like unpleasing, I do apologize for that. So let's put all this together. So what our boy Troy McCoy was just telling us is that his friend Steve Erganati comes to the tanks and does something to shoot the levels in the tanks, and basically essentially he talks even faster than I do. I have a hard time deciphering it, and the transcript doesn't even pick it up. You're able to get a readout of those levels of the tanks on a computer screen. So is that what Chris Watts was taking a picture of at 7:18 a.m.? I think so. Why do I think that's likely? Does everyone like my headphones? My son lost my AirPods. That's because we know that Chris Watts arrives. We talked about this last few live streams at Cervi 319 at 6:56 a.m. For the next 46 minutes, the only activity on either of his phones is that he responds to a one-sentence message from Cody Roberts and says, okay. And that's his work phone. And then there's one event on his personal phone. And that's when he takes that picture of this unknown thing, this unknown image at 7:18 a.m. So in my conception of this possibilities, if we look at the time span from when he arrives, 6:56 a.m. to 7:18 a.m., that's approximately half an hour. Don't ask me about pre-Doug or anything like that. I don't have an answer for it, and I go back and forth in my mind all the time. But in my, building of a possible most likely scenario, in that first half hour, that's when whatever he did with his beautiful wife happened. He checks the oil levels on the tanks at 7:18. He does whatever it is that he does with his beautiful daughters. God rest their souls. And then you can see here, just kind of in the background of this screenshot that I have to show you what he took a picture of at 7:18. Then his activity starts to pick up again at 7:40. He sends Shanann that first staged message. If you take the kid somewhere, please let me know where you go. To me, indicating with a punctuation mark, or an exclamation point rather, which is a punctuation mark, that he's done with whatever it is he set out to do. So that then left him 22 minutes, half an hour, whatever, with Shanann, God rest her soul, and 22 minutes for the girls. I know it's terrible stuff. I should have given a trigger warning. I know it's awful. But I feel that the way this all lines up makes sense. What do you guys think?
wonder what Joan and Muck Boys are talking about. I'm catching little glimpses of it, being scared and stuff. I'm a little nervous. If there's anything I can help you with, please let me know. I don't know who it is you're worried about, but I'm worried too. And I see mention of some other shady people here too. So that makes me concerned. Huh. Oh, good. Yay. It makes sense to Nancy. That means it makes sense to the whole wide world. Oh, Shalina. Okay. I was chit-chatting with Shalina on Facebook for a while. I'll reach out to her as soon as I get off. Actually, let me do it right now. You guys sound concerned. Let me message her right now. Little break here. Let me just message her I saw your message came through, Muck Boys. I'll read it after the stream. Thank you very much. I just want to send her a quick message since you guys are all concerned. Right now, why waste any time, right? Shalina, here we go. Oh. She was very lovely when I spoke with her. She's a good person. Let's see. Let me just get this message out and then we'll continue. Sorry, I just don't want to forget. Obviously, I'll let you guys know if I hear from her. How are you? Been thinking about you. Kissy faces. All right, let's see if she gets back to me. All right, well, I'll know when she sees the message at least, and hopefully she'll get back to me. So there we go. That's what I can do right now. Shalina is somebody who used to be the head moderator for another channel that some of us aren't a big fan of. I'll tell you personally sometime, Rosie, okay? Oh, look, it's Lear D. And Rosie, good night, honey, if you're leaving. It was really great that you made it here. Thank you. Hi, Anaphylaxis. How are you doing, sweetie? Let's see. Let me see what else I got here on this little. Bye, darling. Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. I totally understand, Joan. Absolutely. No, I mean, if you're worried about someone, let's figure it out and make sure everyone's okay. Absolutely. Aaron on the side of caution says, the day that I can't remember one thing from the 111-minute phone call is the day I need to see a doctor. I'll never understand why. Oh, I gotcha. Why they didn't run her through a polygraph. It's infuriating. Well, to run her through a polygraph, she'd have to consent to that. So I know, and I just saw Anaphylaxis here. Anaphylaxis and I were just answering this to somebody else recently. There's fat chance she was going to consent to a polygraph, especially if she has any indication of guilt, which I'm sure she does, or if she knows, what happened to Chris after he took the polygraph, which she does, Yeah. Hi, I love my princess. How are you doing? Welcome. I love my princess says, to me, it seems like not enough time, especially for someone who hadn't done this before. He wasn't a serial killer before. It still bothers me. I think NK helps somehow. Well, when I was looking into, okay, I've been a big proponent of this, that the time that he had at Cervi 319 in the morning from 6:56 till 7:40, when there was virtually no activity on his phone other than him taking a quick snapshot and answering a one-sentence text message by saying, okay, that was enough time for him to do everything. Well, then I started to think about the different live streams or videos that I've seen of people like Dr. B or Mexi going out to that Cervi 319 area and trying to dig in the earth. Now, I've seen conflicting information there. I've seen times when people have been able to, dip their hand down in the earth and they pick it up and it flows through their fingers like a cascade of sandy waterfalls. And then I've also seen Mexi trying to jam a pickaxe into the ground, and he's a strong dude, and him not being able to do it. Now, granted, that was winter. So I was like, all right, well, there's conflicting information there. I have not resolved anything. So then I just started to look up, for my own information from a research perspective, how long it takes to dig a hole. And it takes a long time. That's all I found out. I have no other answers for you. I'm sorry. I just know that takes a long time. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah. She'd still like to see it though. Aaron on the side of caution. I feel, I would like to see it too. So, okay. So let's just continue on my little slide stream here. So, all right. So regarding Chris Watts' work phone not being at Cervi 319 until 9:02, I kind of already went over this. I forgot that I had visuals for it. Let's see what it says. According to this map, Watts' work phone does not show up in Rogan until 9:02 a.m. But what is this map? It is generated from a GPS, assisted GPS. I already read this to you. For those of you that weren't here, let me tell you again. Assisted GPS is extremely unreliable. The significant location feature in an iPhone is the least accurate of all of the locating features. So an assisted GPS determines the location essentially using the 30 plus satellites that a GPS uses, plus it also needs the assist of cell phone connection, whether it be Wi-Fi, 4G, or 5G, to assist in transmitting that location to the phone and then to your eyeballs. So what does that mean? That means if you do not have cellular connectivity, even if your GPS is working, your AGPS might not be working. We determined in the very beginning of this live stream that Chris Watts' work phone was older model. It was a 2013 model. I think it was an i5. I don't know. It's in the stream earlier. It's a 2013 model, whereas his personal phone was a 2016 model. His work phone also used Verizon as a carrier. His personal phone used AT&T. AT&T had a stronger service in that area at that time. So it makes sense that his work phone would not connect to the area, therefore rendering a hit and the significant location feature of the phone until much later than when the phone itself actually arrived. GPS does not need an internet connection, but on an iPhone, in order to see where you are on the map, an internet connection is required. Without a data signal, whether that be Wi-Fi or 3G at the time, or now it could be 4G or 5G, the iPhone is unable to show you a map. You end up with a screen that looks like this. See that nothing screen? In other words, no location is recorded and no image is generated on the map without an internet connection. That is why this note can be found in the discovery. Large yellow arrow pointing to small text that says the specific location within Rogan as seen from the satellite is not shown due to the phone being off network. Some other creators have conveniently ignored that note in discovery. Let me read it again. Big yellow arrow, small text. Let me read it for you. The specific location within Rogan as seen from the satellite is not shown due to the phone being off the network. Wah, wah, wah. What does all that mean together, y'all? That means you cannot rely on the significant location feature on an iPhone. What do we know in summary, I believe? What do we know about Watts' work phone? His work phone is an older model of 5S and the service is through Verizon. We know that it is less likely to connect to an available tower due to the model and features. We also know that there were fewer Verizon towers compared to AT&T towers in that area at that time. Maybe I even have a tower map. Who knows what's here? Continued. Since the iPhone uses AGPS technology, the GPS satellite information may not be transmitted to the phone if the phone is not connected to a tower. In this case, there would be no location data recorded and no map would be generated showing Chris Watts' location in Rogan. Therefore, the fact that he does not show up in Rogan until 9:02 a.m. in the significant location feature means absolutely nothing and really is to be expected. It is my informed opinion that the Rogan location was not recorded on the iPhone's map because the phone had spotty internet connection and the GPS data was missing the assist or the internet connection necessary for the map location to be recorded. For this reason, there is no AGPS location information prior to 9:02 a.m. on Monday, August 13th. Additionally, we know that Watts' work phone did not simply appear into existence the morning of 8:13. So if the phone wasn't in Rogan, where was it? There is no GPS map data for the work phone prior to 9:02 a.m. because it wasn't connecting to a tower. So the information is not in the phone. Dun dun. So, what do we have to show where Watts was that morning? We have GPS data generated from Geotab that is a standalone GPS system not relying on the assist of an internet, therefore much more reliable. Oh, look, here it is. So this shows, as stated, that he arrived in Rogan, that's line number 42, at 6:53 and 50 seconds a.m., the time that I call 6:54 a.m. That's when his truck got there. That's when Chris Watts got there. It's a duh. It's obvious. It's a given. I did do a side-by-side comparison. So here's everything that we talked about, me forgetting that I included this in my presentation. Conclusion. Remember that Watts took the picture of his laptop at 7:18 a.m. with his personal phone. It makes sense that after taking that picture, he would set the personal phone down where he could still send and receive texts if he wished because he was at work. Therefore, he kept his work phone with him for work reasons, for whatever uses the work phone served while he was at work. This accounts for the two differences in activity between the two phones. It's all very logical. And I've just wrapped it up in a pretty package and handed it to you. So please let me know if you have any questions. Hi, DC Primetime. How are you, sweetheart? So, let's see. Yeah, I personally have not subscribed to the safe house theory. I don't see it. Let's see. Yes, did seem to lots of things are conveniently overlooked in other creators' presentations. I included all of the pertinent details there. I promise you. It doesn't get I'm going to say it. It doesn't get more thorough than that. It doesn't. It just simply doesn't. Hi, seriously? Question mark. Yeah, me too, princess. He says, Kelly, I love my princess. I'm sorry. Says, thank you. I wish the investigators would have taken it more seriously. Same. Yes, me too. Absolutely. It's such a shame because you see somebody who is just an amateur like me can put all this information together and tie up all these knots and these loops and, be thorough about things. Why can't they? It's their job. Let's see. Okay. Wait. So Muckboy says, Val, do you think in the video we see Chris Watts load up bodies in his truck? I don't, but I could be wrong. Curious of your thoughts. There's only one place in that video that I see, and I certainly could be wrong. I've been wrong many times in my life, where Watts could be loading bodies. Let me find it for you. I'm going to show it to you and see what you think. I haven't put this in any videos or anything. It's just on my files because I don't know if it's something I want to put out there. just, you know. Let's see. Possibly. Maybe I said possible. Let's see. Let me try a different word. Oh, okay. Yeah. Here we go. Oh, wait. Is this it? No. No. Give me just one moment, folks. I just want to find this file for you in regards to something that's being discussed. No. Yeah. No. I'm talking to my computer. No. Let's see if we got my desktop, maybe. No. Videos. Got to be in the videos. I'm looking at all the different folders in my computer. No. Let me see if this is it. I don't think it is, though.
Some viewers may find the following video
No, it's not it. So I don't know where it is anyway. But okay, never mind. We'll look at that another time. I don't want to spend a bunch of time searching for something I may or may not find. Okay. So, Stevie, are you still here? Does that make any sense to you? Did we sum it up on a high level? Okay. Stevie says, I don't watch other creators, so maybe that's why I'm lost. Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm honored that you watch Watts the Obsession. Oh, cool. Thank you. I'm honored. Thank you. So I think that, I guess, that's a really good point, Stevie. If you're not aware of some other theories that have been put out there or what some other creators are putting out or asserting, you know, the way I look at all the information I put out this evening, it's like, duh. I mean, the information is what it is. It's pretty straightforward, right, Stevie? Or it's confusing. But once you work through it, it's pretty straightforward. So you make a good point that if you're, sort of worldview of Watts is a little more narrow, it might, like, the information might have a different meaning to you. Hi, Tammy. How are you? Tammy says, my question is, NK phone pinging in Frederick that morning. Why was that not questioned by investigators? Yeah. I don't know. That is the question. And if it was questioned by investigators, there's certainly no record of it. And why don't we, oh wait, hold it. Am I able to do let me see something here. Let's see. Oh, fun. Look what I just did. I'm changing things. I didn't know I could do this. I want to do bubble. Bubble. I like that one. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. Oh, wow. There's like so much cool stuff I can do I didn't even know about. Look, that's Rogan. Wow, guys, next live stream, we're going to do all kinds of cool stuff. I forgot I could do all this stuff. Obviously, I did at some point. This is Nicole Kessinger passed out drunk, we assume. Can't see it now. Okay, anyway, I'll play with that another time. What was I trying to do? I was trying to put up a poll. So if you guys think that Nicole Kessinger was, yes, questioned about the 100, I'm sorry. If Nicole Kessinger was questioned about the phone ping, could you please put a 1 in chat? If you think she was not questioned, could you please put a 2 in chat if you don't mind? Show. Oh, yeah, there's Nicole Kessinger passed out in the background. Can't really see it though. Okay, I'm gonna have to play around with that. I thought there was a way to do a poll here, but I can't find it right now. Okay, I'm gonna stop playing with that. Let's see what you guys had to say. So if you think Nicole Kessinger was questioned about the ping, please put 1 in chat. If you think she was just not even questioned, put a 2. So what you'd be saying is, yes, she was questioned. We just don't have any record of the response or the questioning. If you don't think she was, please put a 2. So let's see. We've got, let's see. All right, 2, 2. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, Muck Boys, would you like to come up on a panel? That'd be great. Let me just take a look. So it looks like most of you think. Ooh, it looks like a split. It looks like most people think that she was, in fact, questioned. Ooh, it's kind of a split, though. I'll put that up on the community page on the channel, and then you guys can vote. We'll see what everyone says. I've been getting like a lot of at least 1,000 votes there, so that'd be good. Yeah, Muck Boys, please come up. That would be awesome. I always love when people come up. That would be terrific. So here is the link. Yeah, and come on up. And then I have about 30 minutes, and I got to go to bed because tomorrow's my opening day at my new school I'm teaching at. Got to be fresh as a daisy. Hi, Maggie Bridget. How are you? So, Maggie, you think, yeah, she was asked? Yeah. Well, yeah, no, Tammy, great question. So, Tammy asks, wouldn't that be in the discovery if she was? Well, Tammy, there are a lot of things that are redacted from the discovery. There are a lot of things that we found out exist that are not in the discovery, or it's explicitly stated that these things don't exist in the discovery, but we know that they do by other means. I should do a whole live stream just showing you guys that information sometime, because I think it would be really interesting. If you're not aware of that stuff, let's definitely do that. So let's see. So I think your screen name says what I believe is your real name. I just want to make sure you're cool with that, Muck Boys, okay? So it says what I believe would be your real name starts with a K. Okay, so I'm going to bring you up. So I just want to make sure you're good with that. Okay.
That's fine.
Okay, whoops. So
That's fine.
How are you doing, Muck Boys?
Good. You?
Awesome. Doing great. Thanks for coming up.
Cool. All right. I've been trying to kind of like make some notes so that way don't kind of keep talking about the same thing. So the ping, I do believe she was questioned. I'm one that believes that they knew where the bodies were, and I believe she probably told them like that day in the park, because I believe when Tammy handed Chris, I mean, think about the whole United States. They took a picture that had all the 3 bodies in it.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? Like, if they didn't know, they fit, they fit perfectly in that one picture.
Absolutely.
Like, and I believe that Crit, and the way he was like, when is this taken? And I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe that he even was wrong on the tanks the girls were in. Like, I think I've heard that, like, he said Cece was in the wrong one.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard that too. And I honestly have never even looked into it, because it's kind of something I don't want to look into. You know what I mean?
I understand that.
But yeah, no, that's interesting.
But but just think, the picture they have in this whole world had the body. I mean, it wasn't off little, and they just got the burial because you could kind of see. I mean, they had it in that one picture, perfect. You know what I mean? To me,
right.
and so I believe that there's a possible deal type thing made in that park. And she wouldn't drive her vehicle. She made him pick her up, and then she sold her vehicle the next day.
Right.
And I just believe that
Wild.
I believe that she told them a lot at that park. I believe they knew where the bodies were. And another thing I'd said earlier was the way Tammy and Chris were talking. Like, I would like to know if he really failed the polygraph test. Like, we don't know. They could have been lying and saying he did just to scare him.
They could have.
And I still believe that when Chris was first talking to Tammy, it was almost as if like he just thought she was like a test giver. I don't think he realized she was an officer until like I'm not sure when, but if you look at the beginning, he almost says like, I wish you could tell them I didn't do it or something, as if she wasn't part of an officer. It was really weird. Like, and I'm not saying he even did that on purpose, but I never heard her introduce herself as an officer. She was just like a test giver. But
Well,
that's, again,
there is she, oh gosh, somewhere she talks about, kind of maybe her technique where when she first meets Chris, she's really like bubbly. She just doesn't want him to think that she's anything, official. And she's just like, hi, Chris, how are you doing?
Wow. I never heard that.
Yeah, when she comes, I'll see if it's something I definitely have on file. It wasn't like the criminal confessions, the one that everyone's seen a million times. It was a different special that she appeared on. It was on cable. I do know that. And she says that she has a certain persona when she first greets him. And then when she comes back with the polygraph results, she's like all business. And that bubbly Tammy is like out the door, So that's interesting though. So the question would be then, is there any legal implications, regarding like what he thought she was? Like if he did not know she was law enforcement, did he have a legal right to know that? Right. So I think that would be the question, right?
Yeah.
Now, what you said about Cervi 319 is also interesting. So you said, given like everywhere in the world, they took one snapshot that had the location of Shanann and the two girls in it. So let's say you could narrow it down more than all the world, and you could even narrow it down to the Cervi Ranch and maybe even Cervi 319. But still, guys, this is the drone footage from Cervi 319. So look at what a big area this is that we are covering. And still, what Muckboy said holds true, that they were able to provide him a photograph that just had enough room to include the place where Shanann was and the two tanks. I mean, that is a very good point. Because there's all this space. There's all this space and so much more, right?
Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Yeah. The other thing we're talking about a safe house. So NK mentioned she had a safe house. Now, I don't believe it's in the sense of there being one in the development, I don't believe that. But the one thing I am a big believer in is, so the garbage bags and the sheet. No one saw them Monday. No one saw them Tuesday as Troy McCoy went back out there. We know it poured Tuesday afternoon, and that sheet was bone dry Wednesday morning. So I'm not saying alive or passed away. I don't know. But I don't believe they were taken right out there right then. Because, like I said, that garbage, no one saw, like the garbage bags and the sheet, they weren't that far off of the Cervi, the little cleared out area. And and again, it poured Tuesday. That sheet, when they held it up, you could tell it was dry. I just believe that was thrown out there afterwards as like a set to set him up. And also I believe most people know that there was two sets of fingerprints on the garbage bags that weren't Chris and Shanann, and they ran them through like the local fingerprints, but not the FBI's. And again, why, I don't know. But that's another, big thing that's out there, is there's two sets of fingerprints on those garbage bags. I believe I believe that's even in Discovery. Like, I don't think that's something I've heard or I'm making that up. That's something I believe.
No, that is there's two sets of fingerprints. That's a fact. Yeah. Now I just want to read comment really quick. So DC Primetime says, I think in regards to you know, that they took this picture of Cervi that contained all of the locations of the remains. She said they already had the GPS, and that is a good point. And I just want to go to the super chat really here. Thank you very much, Maggie, Bridget. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Thank you for supporting the channel. And she says, and Muck Boys, did you see the live stream recently when Lee RD came up on panel and she kind of like blew my mind and everyone else's?
I did. Someone else was telling me about how good it was, but I missed that. I'll have to go back and watch that. I will.
Yeah. So Maggie said, oops, like, sorry, my screen size is too big. Could you set so I can read it? What's going on here? Okay. So why can't I see that? Hold it. Sorry, Lee RD. Okay. She says, after Lee RD was on your panel, I think NK was questioned and I love you, StreamYard. You're freaking awesome. Hold it. Okay, here we go. Here, let me turn my camera off.
I think it said that she was questioned. There was some sort of immunity deal, and that's what we just mentioned.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, she said, I think NK was just trying to bring it up. You know what? Let me stop these surveys. Jeez. StreamYard. Wow. So many capabilities. I'm impressed. Sorry. After Lee RD was on your panel, I think NK was questioned, and this is why she was given some sort of immunity or deal. I still think she was there from start to finish. So what Lee RD, are you still here, Lee? Said when she came up
that
on
was
panel,
Maggie
she
Bridget.
said,
That was Maggie Bridget.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And thank you, Maggie. But she's referring to what Miss Lee RD said. And
Okay. Agree.
Maggie was there that night. We were talking about it. So what Lee had told all of us that I hadn't heard before. I mean, had you heard this? She thinks, she's like, guys, it's so obvious with her like New York City accent. Obviously, she's going to think this way, that NK is in federal prison. Yes, she was brought up on some charges. She's in a nice cush federal prison where she's getting 3 gourmet meals a day, as they do in some federal prisons.
Like in Goodfellas, where they're making their
like
own
a
steak
resort
and
one.
stuff.
Yeah. And she's going to get out and she's going to have a brand new identity and some money. And how good for her. I mean, listen, that's totally possible. How is it that nobody has seen that Taquito for over 4 years now?
Yeah, I mean, and what's so amazing, other than not seeing her, is how in the world did they get every single picture of her taken off the internet? I mean, you can't find one of her or Jim.
I know.
It's wild. I mean,
that is really crazy.
I mean, you can find pictures of presidents as kids. You can find pictures of everyone, but you cannot find a daggum picture of NK and Jim.
I know.
Or Danielle Hadel. It's wild.
I did recently find a picture of Jim. It was really deeply embedded. I probably found this about, I'm going to find it while we're talking here. I probably found it about, I'm going to say, I don't know, 6 to 9 months ago. And it was like him doing his, and oh my God, I looked for a long time. I mean, sat and looked for I'm embarrassed to even tell you how long. I don't know how long it was, but I just know that it was way too long. And it was, of him on some geological dig or something. And I was like, oh, look, goddamn, there he is. I don't think it's there anymore, though. I think I tried to
Val,
find it.
I'm looking at the chat, and Val had asked if NK was in prison when they have said, but then they would have to admit that she was there and they were wrong and that she was, and maybe they only gave her a couple of years when she should be there for murder. So, I mean, that is a pretty wild thought. It's a pretty neat thought. That would make sense why she's not there. And I could see them they wouldn't have to, they wouldn't want us to know, but okay. And I saw that Flax had said Danielle can be found on LinkedIn. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, yeah. And I guess, yeah. Okay. So, and somebody else said you can find Jim on Facebook. And I guess that's where I did find this one.
There's the one pic we all know of him at a bar, but I'm saying,
right.
You can't find anything else other than a couple, little things. But
yeah, no. I'm going to bring up the picture. I'll show you whoever just said you haven't seen him. But the one thing that we do know beyond a shadow of a doubt is you cannot find NK anywhere. We know that for certain.
Jim's last name, someone asked, was Gutowski. Gutowski, Aaron.
Yeah.
And Tammy was asking what Jim and KJ relationship. They were just friends. I believe they're both like geologists. I'm not sure if they went to college together.
Yeah.
Sis Vicious spelled Jim's last name right. But yeah.
Yep, that's right.
All right.
Do you
So
want to
we
read a
did,
couple comments in chat there while I find this picture of Jimbo?
yeah, sure, yeah.
Hey, thank you.
And then so we talked about the ping safe house out back. Oh, and just where someone else was speaking earlier talking about, in that video now, DA Rourke says that he took them out like trash. Unless there's a video that we don't see, I do not see him carrying out a 150-pound body with no
No.
help in
Oh,
the
I
video
don't
that we
either.
see. The other thing too is, in Wisconsin, he had said that she was laid across the back. Well, he had an extra cab. I mean, if a grown person they probably can't even put their feet behind. Like, there's no room behind those seats. Like, it wasn't a 4-door. It was just an extra cab. No way a body would lay in between the front two captain's chairs and the back bench chair. It's just there's just no way. So,
Now, see then, and it's almost, and this is really why everyone's like, oh my God, I wish there was a freaking trial. Because, for almost anything that, you've heard anyone state, people that know what they're talking about, like I'm sure you do. There's somebody else who's like Kevin, who comes on as our oil field expert sometimes, says, oh yeah, she would definitely be able to fit in there. Because I question that too.
well,
So, I think
I could be wrong. Okay,
well,
yeah.
and I always say the same thing, but I personally have no idea. I don't really know anything about the size of cabs, but the problem with the lackluster investigation, shall we call it, even say, okay, obviously it didn't go to trial. Not everything has to go to trial, but the problem with the incomplete investigation is, there are not necessarily this instance with a truck, but there are so many scenarios that cannot even be recreated now. Like, for example, anything that happened to Cervi 319, Cervi is gone. So therefore, nothing that happened at that location can be reconstructed or recreated for trial purposes, or, to know what is possible and what is not.
Now, another thing that I used to not be sure of, but came up, and I believe someone was right about this. So I believe in the picture you have up now, if you look, if anyone's watching the screen. So we're talking Chris buried Shanann and put the girls in the tanks. Now, if you look at the tanks, there's only a ladder on one side, okay?
Right.
If it's one person, he's in a hurry, he's going to put them both in that first tank. The fact they're in two separate tanks almost tells me that it was two people. Two people went up there, and it's quicker to work, putting them each in a tank. If Chris is doing it, he's not going to pass that first tank. He's in a hurry. He's trying to hurry up. He just carried him. He just did that Shanann. He's not going to pass the first tank. He's going to put them both in that first one. So the fact they're separate, to me, tells me there's two people doing that.
Okay, unless, and I don't know the answer to this. I don't know enough about any of this to decide to like come to arrive at an answer on my own. But I mean, to play devil's advocate, what I would say is, unless, say that picture that he took at 7:18 from his personal phone was of his computer screen, and it was of the levels in the tanks per, Troy McCoy's statement about Steve, whatever his name is, that can determine the levels in the tanks. What if he was concerned that putting them both in one tank would trigger some kind of alarm notice
because the water came up too high?
That would be my only. But I mean, you make a really good point. But that would be my devil's advocate response to that.
Yeah, you're right. And then also, when you think about that, if he's doing that much research, it would have been done a lot better in my mind. But you are right.
That's true.
But he wouldn't have left a rake behind, and and barely had a hole big enough. But the other thing too that I found odd was, if you look, so I believe when he confesses, which I don't believe with faith, but anyway, when he confesses, he says that, like, I believe there's like a paper plate there, and he says that the hatch was the size of that paper plate. And I don't believe it was even close. I mean, that paper plate was like 7 or 8 inches. And the hatches, I believe, are closer to 11 or 12. And like,
Okay.
so I mean, it makes me think that almost he didn't even know how big they were, because he
Yeah.
says, oh, it's this size, and the plate is way smaller. I mean, if it was that size, no way he would be able to fit them in it. So it almost made me think like maybe he didn't even see them, or know how big they
Right.
were. But
then it's like, then if like, okay, so again, I don't know. Sorry. I don't mean to be, I'm just always devil's advocate. So
yeah,
like if
yeah,
you're
no,
thinking,
I get it.
something like a thief hatch, okay, so maybe he's worked with the thief hatches during, his, time working for Anadarko, and maybe he was or wasn't working with them, just recently. Like, to what degree of accuracy would he be able to estimate the size of those hatches? You know what I'm saying?
Very
Like,
true. Agree. Yeah.
I
How
don't know.
how often had he been up there to work with them? Yeah, I get you.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Something like that.
yeah.
Yeah. But maybe,
Um,
yeah.
the other thing, the 111-minute phone call. I've always thought this is that if you look, and this is another thing that drives me nuts, is if you look on Nate's when they're sitting there, you can when they're talking from Nate's TV, you can see that like on Sunday night at like
There's
11 or
Jim.
so, there was headlights pulling into their driveway.
11:25.
Okay,
Yes.
so here's what I think. I think NK dialed Chris from her house. That way the phone would ping off her tower, and not him. Drove over there, and then they talked in person. And that's why no one can remember the 100-minute phone call, because they weren't actually talking on it. Like
Right.
they were talking in person. And and he even disconnects from his router. Like when he walks out there at that time, he disconnects because he walked out front. So that's
Right.
another one I believe is that's why no one can remember what was said, because she drove there and they spoke in person. So there was
Yeah.
nothing
Well,
said
that's
on
all
the call.
factually very tight. What you just said, all of that is 100% accurate. I just want to point out really quick, our boy Jim. I found that picture of him up on the screen.
Oh, no way. I wouldn't.
I did a
Wow.
lot of digging, an embarrassing
From
amount.
the video, from what I have seen, I never would have guessed that was him. Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's our boy Jim. But no, that's a really good point about the the headlights. I'm going to bring a picture of that up here too. Just one second. I was talking about that in a live stream just recently, that the 111-minute phone call was from 9:28 to it was from 9:28 to 11:19, and then it was 3 minutes after he got off that phone call, he finally, and this is obviously on the Discovery timeline, I'm just pulling it from memory right now, he finally responded to Shanann saying that she was going to be late, and he was like, oh wow, it's going to be late or whatever, that sucks, like just some like dick response, and then there was something about NK, I think, communication wise, and then it was 2 minutes later that those headlights passed by. So that was all in the space of like 4 minutes after they got off that phone call. So there was like a whole lot going on there.
Just real quick, Val says that she thought Jim was bigger, and I agree, Val. In the pictures that we see, he was. This one that Kelly found must be a little newer, and he must have lost some weight, because the picture that we all know of Jim, he is. So
I'll show you another, a little more recent one too. I have another one here.
The other one that drives me crazy about that night is and you can even see a couple, like a van or whatever on Nate's, but so out in front of their development, someone noted there was like a van with the back doors open and two people kind of messing around there, like around 11 something. At another time, someone called the sheriff's office because of a white van driving erratically, as if like right on the highway close to their house.
Yeah.
And there was even another instance where like another van, but it's like all this stuff about a white van. And I believe there's one on Nate's video you can see at some point someone's taking a snapshot of. And it's like there's all this stuff about a white van on the night before that no one's ever checked out.
Exactly.
And if you go and watch the where they go and they speak to the neighbors, a couple of them mention a white van.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
It's nuts that, as most people say, Chris is where he belongs, but I just think some other people should be there too. I
agree.
And
I mean, I feel like good saying that we can safely say due to all of those reports of the suspicious vehicles, that there was or more than one suspicious vehicle in that subdivision that evening. There were just too many reports for it not to be true.
Yeah. And we mentioned is, how come, we now I could be wrong in this, but I believe that Nate didn't give them the camera stuff until October. Have you ever heard that?
No, that's true. That's
Like,
true.
like
It's
why?
in Discovery. It's in the
Why in the
Discovery.
world
I know.
from August 12th?
I know.
And did he not give it to him until October? I
Well,
personally
he wasn't
can't.
really asked until then. So what happened was,
Well, no, because remember we saw that video where he goes over there, the cop, and asks for it. And he goes, "Oh, my mom, my mother-in-law's car got broken into last night. As
Yeah.
soon as my wife." That was like that day, wasn't it?
Yeah. So here, I think I can tell you about that. And I can tell, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. I just wanted to show you that I put up on the screen right now. There's the screenshot from Officer Coonrod's body cam footage. It's not called Lost the Obsession for nothing. Where you can see that Nate's security camera was triggered at 11:25 and 20 seconds p.m.
You can
on
see
Sunday.
to the right. There's bright headlights behind them. You can see it just
Exactly. So what happened, to my understanding, and this is all in the Discovery, was, yes, Nate did in fact offer, whatever he did in that footage that we see. Okay. So then Officer Coonrod made an official request, or I don't know if there's another stronger legal word. I'm not sure what it was. I'd have to look at it again. Was it Comcast? Was that the company? Whatever the company was, I feel like it was Comcast. Comcast never delivered. So then Coonrod went and circled back around, asked Nate to come into the police station, and then got the footage from him. I feel like that was around Halloween time. Why they let so much time pass without having cinched that critical footage is beyond me.
You know what I'm wondering now is, I wonder if that would have messed up Chris being alone. Like, what I'm saying? Like maybe like they wanted the confession and the sentencing to get done because if we had this, we would probably like see that there was other things going on. Maybe that's why, I don't know. But it's like, but it's like all we get is that morning. Why can't we see the night before? Why can't we see what time he came home from the barbecue? Why can't we see July 4th when NK came over?
About a 12-hour span of time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all he even requests. I'm going to see if I can bring this up and show it to y'all.
I would like to see the time she came over, because remember, she's like, "Oh, one time I went in the front door, one time I went in the garage." But I don't believe that, because I think Chris drove her in the garage both times. Well, I lied, because remember Shanann had said she kept getting like beeps from the door, and so I think he was messing with it so she wouldn't see her walking in, because she's like, you better call them or I'm going to. And so I think he was messing with it. So, but I don't know.
But we do know that the one time she came over on July 4th, Chris reports that, Shanann had been calling him. She had called him 10 times prior to him even waking up. And then NK was still in the shower, and he's like, "Yo, I got to go home." And she wasn't very happy. And that was actually the day after her 30th birthday. And
Yep. He spent the night at NK's. He had to go home, and she came over. Yes, I agree with you. Yep. And that was it, which I found. She sat on wet carpet. Remember, like he had cleaned the carpets, and she sat down.
Many jokes can be made from there.
And then Dieter, and then the big bad Dieter drug her upstairs.
Yes. But then I also just recently started thinking about they don't really live that close to each other. According to their timeline, they only started dating in June. We know that, she talks about him bringing the box of condoms over to her house on June 27th, which is the day after Shanann went to North Carolina. So if that timeline is even kind of true, July 4th is just a few days after they started dating. How did she even know where to show up to? You know what I mean? Meaning, how did she
Mhm.
know where he lived?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I
I
yeah
found that in Discovery about oh wait, go ahead because I want to get the
yeah
real Discovery.
you know, and as everybody says, I think the only I'm not going to say how much involvement, but the Fire Stick meeting that day, NK had left early, like 12:30,
Yeah.
and she even pinged in the area of the Fire Stick meeting. And if you
Wasn't
remember,
she off
I
on Friday?
I believe Danielle Hadel drove an orange Mustang, and
Right.
remember, the Troy is like, oh, I saw. He even talks about seeing two girls in an orange Mustang, and yeah, she left like 12:30 that Friday, and she pinged in the area, and um, Cody called Troy about the leak, but like Cody lives with Troy, so why would he even be calling? Like that to me
Right. Because it was
that
like
was
at
all set
3:30
up
on
to give
Friday
Chris
afternoon. Right. Like they
a
both be home.
reason to go out there on Monday morning.
Yeah. I mean, I think that is fully possible. It's definitely very questionable.
And,
So
and there's like a weekend person on staff that could take care of something like a maintenance guy, and everything's okay till
oh
Monday
my God,
morning.
it's a huge oil company. I would certainly hope there's a lot
Yeah,
of maintenance guys
yeah,
over the weekend. Jeez.
exactly. So
Plus, we don't have more houses exploding,
yeah,
So
So
Tony says, I think NK and company were in the basement when Shanann came home. I find that to be a very viable possibility.
so not to mention other creators, but one that you went on, I believe you like them. I always say I call them I say leg table sleuth, but you know what I'm talking about, armchair.
Oh yeah, I love AD. We love AD on this channel.
If
We would put it all day long. Yeah.
if anybody's interested, go to his videos. I would have to look. I could tell you, but if you go back about maybe 9 months, there'll be a couple videos. You go to his channel, click videos, go back about 9 months, and then there'll be 2 or 3 videos that just say they're 2 years old out of the blue. And what it is because that's when he made them public. They were private. One of them has a psychic on. Okay, the girl supposedly knew nothing about the Watts case, but Shanann came to her. She like knew where she blew 80's mind, like knew where NK was now. She knows and she's only on for like 10, 15 minutes. She had to leave. She runs through a scenario that will, to me, it blew my mind. Like, NK and them are waiting on her. She said like NK parked down the street, ducked around, went around back to duck Nate's cameras. Like she knew all this stuff, and says who buried them, when they hurt the girls, and it is, to me, now, and this girl's still on YouTube. I follow her. She doesn't talk about it. Like she didn't do this for money. She didn't. She could care less. She has a YouTube channel. She's a big
Who is
into
it?
ghosts
Can
and
we give
stuff.
her a plug? Who is it? If you don't know, it's okay.
Yeah, something like New Orleans. She says she does like astral projection. She went and sat in Chris's and I'm not saying I'm a big psychic person, but she went and sat in Chris's jail cell with him, and Shanann came to her, and that's when anyway. And then she saw she was like crying during this. I mean, it is one of the best. Like anyway, like I said, if you're into it, it is just one of the best videos, and it's quick. It's like 11 minutes. I'm gonna get the name of it here, and I'll tell you because because like I said, if anybody is interested to go there and see it, it really blew my mind. And if the lady told the truth, and she really didn't care about, and again, I still follow to this day, she doesn't even mention it. Like it's not like was doing it to get views or get popular, like. And okay, so yeah, yeah.
Oh wait, here, can I read this to you really quick?
Yeah,
so I found this in the Discovery here. So let me just share it with you. So this is in regards to Nate's security camera footage, how it was produced, and also Dave Baumhover's request for production directly from Comcast. So I can't remember all the details, but this is what it says. The following information was documented at the time it was gathered. The date of this original report is not indicative of when the investigation occurred. On October 1st, 2018, I served a court order for production of records to Comcast Xfinity requesting any and all surveillance recordings captured by Nate Trinistech home security system. Nathan's home is located directly east next door of the Watts residence. Having not yet received the records from Comcast by October 24th, 2018, I contacted Nate via telephone regarding the surveillance video clips retained to his personal computer. Nate agreed to provide me a copy of the video clips and upload them to a flash drive I provided. It should be noted that prior to contacting Nate, I learned there were several more video clips retained by him that were not obtained previously. At approximately 1,630 hours, I met with Nate and his wife, and basically they provided the stuff. And then go down a couple lines. I asked Nathan if he was willing to be interviewed at the Frederick Police Department and have it recorded. He said he was, and we agreed to meet on October 31st. I knew Halloween was in there at 1,400 hours. So he's saying here by October 24th, they still had not received the surveillance footage by Comcast Xfinity. What is up with that?
Wow.
It's just so many things that blow your mind when you really dig into these tiny little details. It's just crazy.
Real quick, I posted on in the chat. People are curious. So,
Yeah.
AD channel. Go to his videos. Go back 9 months. All of a sudden there'll be some videos like 2 years old, and it is called
Armchair
Chris
Detective.
Watts, Conjure Queen uses astral projection, birthday visit in his cell. And again, her name is Isla D. Orleans, but her channel's Conjure Queen. But again, she had to leave. She's only like the video's like two years. The video's like 2 hours long. She's only on there the first 10 to 15 minutes. And again, to me, it blew my mind. Again, I'm not some crazy psychic person, but
right.
It just the fact she knew like Inky Park down the street and had to duck Nate's cameras, and she went in the back that we all believe happened. She knew there was her and 2 other people waiting on them. Like it was nuts. So anyway.
Wow, that's interesting.
So as you just said, Halloween. So this happened August 12th. They didn't get. So how did they even come up with the fact of how anyone got to Cervi? Who left? Who was at the house? How did they know anything if they didn't get his video until Halloween?
Right.
And when was he sentenced? Like November.
Right, November 8th. Correct.
So he was sentenced 8 days after they got this video.
Exactly.
Wow. I mean, that's
right.
That's nuts.
I know.
And if you don't think, another thing I've heard.
That's really this is like a really big deal. Actually, I hadn't put it together all like that. That's a really, really big deal.
And another thing is, I've heard that like if someone has a one murder, like their discovery is like 10,000 pages. This was 4 murders, and I think his discovery was very low.
1,960 pages. Yeah.
And I've heard a normal discovery for a murder case is like 10,000, a single murder. Now I could be wrong.
I've heard it. It's a lot more. It's definitely a lot more.
But you know what? You're right. Now that we're thinking about it. So they did all this sentencing, everything, and they didn't have the video until 8 days prior to sentencing. That's
exactly
that is wild. Like you said, I haven't really thought about that, but that is nuts. You know, and the fact that they remember the Chris's mom wanted him to plead innocent and sending the letter, but they didn't give him the letter until after he was sentenced.
I know.
Like, I mean, like, so, you know, anybody that's like the main thing, like the main argument that, and you can't argue back, is he confessed. That's it. Well, you're right. But then there's so many little things that we see that add up, you know, like so many little lies here, so many little things. And it's like, well, yeah, I get he confessed, but like still, I mean, there's something else going on, and you know, if you can't just admit that, you know, like it's nuts.
Yeah, I agree with you. I totally agree. Now, listen, it's almost 12 o'clock here, and I actually do. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. I would love for you to come on anytime.
Thanks for having me.
And I've got to get going because it's almost midnight here, and
completely
I've got
understand.
a few hours. So tomorrow's our like opening day at the place where I work as a behavioral consultant, and I don't want to be all tired when everyone's all excited to be there.
You're awesome. I love the channel. And thank you for having me.
So much.
I will talk to you later. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody.
Awesome. Bye. Oh, awesome. What a treat. So awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys. Yeah, definitely check out that video on Armchair Detective. I think it's on the Armchair Detective Blue channel. And hi, Blair. Nobody knows where NK is today. And that actually led us to somebody who was in chat, I think who's here now, came up as a guest on the show the other day. Lee RD is her name, and she believes that can be explained because NK is bed in federal prison. That was a theory that just absolutely blew my mind. I don't know exactly how I would make any traction in learning more about that, but I and some other people on my team have definitely been looking into it. But yeah, nobody has seen Nicole Kessinger in over 4 years, which is pretty wild. So yeah, so I'm sorry I didn't get to more questions in chat. I'm definitely going to be having another live stream in the next couple of days because we still have to have the part 2 of the alibi of lies. The part 1 was that evening that I was just referring to where Lee RD came up on panel and blew my mind. We still have more to finish up on that. So thank you everybody for being here. Thank you everybody in chat for being so respectful as always. Thank you. Oh, there's Lee RD. There's our girl. So yeah, so probably was today, probably on Wednesday, Lee RD. So if you can come back Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, that would be great because I would love for you to come up on panel for at least a few moments if you're willing to. And thank you so much, moderators. You guys are the absolute bomb. I appreciate all of you so very much. And I'm sorry that I'm saying goodbye so quickly, but again, tomorrow's a big day for me at my my real jobby job. So thank you guys. I really appreciate all of you. So I'm gonna let chat run for just another couple of minutes. In case you guys have any little conversations you want to finish up. If anyone here wants to put any links to their channels or any others, please feel free to do that. I like to support all other channels. And the only reason I asked to slow down the links during chat, during live streams is because sometimes it was just seeming to disrupt the flow. It's sometimes, but especially people who are moderators or just close to the channel. If you want to put up links during chat for special reasons, just let me know. And that would be totally fine. Like someone like Ara. Hi, Ara. How are you, sweetheart? So, all right, everybody. Good night. Thank you, everybody, for supporting the channel. You guys rock. By the way, this picture is out right near Cervi 319. Thank you so much, DC Primetime. You're a sweetheart. Thank you. Thank you, Anaphylaxis, dear, and everyone else. I appreciate all of you guys very much.